back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm actually going to tell you guys the time of when I lived in a haunted house. To be honest, living in a haunted house for a very long time was very traumatizing to me. And I feel like if I were 19 years old living in that house, it wouldn't be as traumatic, but the fact that I was very, very young living in a haunted house seriously left me with very bad memories, and to this day, if I look at pictures of that house, it gives me chills. And it makes me sick to my stomach because of the things that I went through in that house. And I wasn't the only one who dealt with the paranormal activity happening in our trailer. My mom, my sister, and myself all dealt with it. I'm not sure if my dad ever dealt with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. So this might be quite a long video because there's a lot of activity that happened in that house. I plan on calling my mom and my sister for you guys so you can kind of hear their take and what they also experienced in this house, because I'm not the only one who dealt with it. I just want to let you guys know right up front that I am not making up any of this. I would never lie about paranormal activity or anything traumatic that has happened to me. It's not something to joke about, but I hope you guys find it interesting because when I look back on it, I'm just shocked as to what I went through as a kid. So the house that I grew up in was actually in a trailer court. So I lived in a trailer and it was just my parents, my sister, and I. And it was just a very old trailer with windows in the front, with like a brownish yellow paint and a brown trim, with a shed in the back corner, and a red porch. And as soon as you walk up to the house, you can feel like this eerie energy, I guess you could say, around it. Like you can tell that something was off with it. But we moved in there in 2002, so it was like, that's where me and my sister had grown up. And so it was home for us. But clearly there was something there that was not happy that we were living there. And it mostly targeted me because I was an easy target. I got scared easily, and I definitely fed into its energy because of the things it did to me. There wasn't a day that I would go home and not be messed with when the lights were out at night, or when no one was home and it was just me. Like, it was always coming after me. I would dread going home. I wouldn't want to go home. I don't even know where to start. There's just so many different memories in that house. So the earliest that I can remember of when this activity started is when I was about 5. And I remember feeling like something was watching me. I'd be playing in my room. Me and my sister had shared a room, but me and my sister are 3 years apart. So if I was 5, she was only, 2. And she had her own nursery at the time because, there was an age difference there. But later on we would share a room. But when I had my own, I would be playing with my toys and I would just feel off. Like I could feel something watching me. And you know that feeling when something is watching you. I used to live in the very, very front room, which was right in front of the house with the big bay window, which I will insert a picture for you guys so you can see. And this picture is actually from when we lived there. Those are our cars up front. That's exactly what it looked like before they remodeled it and repainted it after we moved out. But I would feel eyes on me, and I would feel heavy. Like my heart would beat faster, and like I shouldn't be worried about ghosts. I was only about maybe 5, and like I would just remember eyes watching me. I'd feel like eyes were watching me, or when I'd sleep I'd feel someone watching me. I always felt like eyes were on me. I never felt safe in that house. It was nothing wrong with my family. I was never, I was in a good family. Like my parents took very good care of me. Me and my sister have a really good, strong relationship. It was just, there was a presence in that house that I couldn't explain that wasn't welcoming us. It just was a different type of energy. So as I got older, it would start to mess with me more. It would push things off. I'd be in the shower and the shampoo bottles would fall into the bathtub when no one else was in there and I was on the other side of the shower. The curtain would be moving when no one else was in there. When I'd go out and I'd be drying myself off, I would feel something watching me. There have been times when the bathroom knob, because it was a bathroom where there was a door, there was like a tiny little wall like right here, so there was like a little hallway almost, I would say, and then you would turn, there'd be a toilet in the shower, and the mirror's right here. So you can see the door in the mirror, and the doorknob wouldn't move when you're looking in the mirror. It was seriously the most gut-wrenching thing, and like I remember that happening often, and it wasn't just a one-time thing, it was often. In our house, we were told never to lock the door, so I knew if someone needed to get into the bathroom, they could have gone into the bathroom. I don't see why they would just jiggle the door and wouldn't come in. There had to be something else messing with the door. And there'd be times where I'd be like, hey, was anyone trying to get into the bathroom? And they'd be like, no, like we were all out here the whole time. And a lot more experiences like that, I'd be like, hey, did you do this? And everyone would be like, no, it wasn't me. And that's how I knew there was some other entity in the house that was doing these things to me. On top of the shower, like the shampoo bottles falling into the shower, I would hear whispers and kind of just like, or hey, like in my ear or near me in the room somewhere when no one else was in there. And I'd be like, yes. Like I would think, you know, like my dad was like trying to say something or Sarah was messing around with me and no one would answer. But then I would feel once again those eyes looking down on me. Like there was a time, I remember this vividly because it scared me so bad. I was cleaning my room, and this was when me and my sister were sharing a room. I was cleaning my room and I just got done vacuuming. And out of nowhere, I felt like this pair of eyes, like looking down on me from like the top corner of my room. And I remember just standing there, like seeing if something was gonna happen. It almost felt like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like a shadow was kind of creeping over you, you know? And I remember running into the kitchen and I was like, Mom, I feel like something's watching me. And she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Like that, the fact that it happens so often, like, and the thing is I don't think there was only one or two entities in the house. I believe there were a handful of entities in the house, and I'll go into that here in a second. So this is when the scary stuff really starts to happen, and I apologize if I'm everywhere because there's just so many different things that happen in the house. I don't know where to start. There's not really a timeline in my head that I can remember because it happened over the years. It wasn't just like for a 2-month thing or a 1-month thing or a week thing. It was years of them tormenting me in my own house, in my own room. And I'm just gonna jump into the scary stuff, to be honest. These are the things that scared me the most. So it mostly hit me at night. Most of it was when I actually shared a room with my little sister. Usually she would sleep on the top bunk and I would sleep on the bottom bunk. There were nights, countless number of nights, where I'd be laying down and I would feel something crawl into my bed. Not like a mouse, not like a, no, that's not what I'm talking about. You know, whenever you're laying down in your bed and you can feel someone like getting in the bed with you, where you can feel their hand and their other hand and their leg and their other leg and them laying down next to you. I would feel that in the bottom bunk with me at night. And I would run out of my bed. I would flip the covers off and I would be like, I'd wake up my sister. There are so many nights where I would wake up my sister to ask to sleep with her because I'd be too scared to sleep by myself. And I'd be like, Sarah, like please wake up. And she'd get annoyed because I'm sleeping with her every single night. She's like, what do you need? And I'm like, something's in the bed with me. Like, I need your help. Like, I cannot sleep by myself. And on top of that, I already had really, really bad anxiety as a child. Like my mom would have to stage the house every week because I was too scared to sleep with the demons in my house. My mom would put on Christian music to protect me. I would sleep with anxiety rocks on my chest. We would pray every single night. Like I felt like I needed to be protected at all times. And Sarah, my little sister, was my safe spot. She was my safe haven. So I'd sleep with her numerous nights out of the week. Because if not, I would feel something crawl into my bed with me. There were nights where Sarah would be like, no, stay in your own bed. Which, I mean, I'm not mad at her for that because you can't have your 8 or 9-year-old sister sleeping with you every night. Like, yeah, I was 9 years old sleeping with my sister because I was fearing my life sleeping by myself. I would lay down on the nights where I couldn't sleep because I would be scared of it climbing in bed with me. There have been times where they have flipped the covers. Like, not much, but just enough for me to know that they're there. They've touched my feet when I was trying to sleep. to the point to where I would jerk my leg because I was too scared that they were going to drag me out of bed like in the movies. I would not watch horror movies until about 2 years ago because I was too scared to face the fact that I could be dragged out of bed like in the movies. There was one time where we were laying down and it was the same thing. It felt like they climbed into bed with me and I felt them move my hair like off my neck because I've always been the person that lays on their side, and they moved my hair off of my neck. That scared the shit out of me. And I know I don't really cuss on my channel, but that was one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. Whenever you have something that touches your hair or your feet, or you just feel them climbing into bed with you, you're scared to sleep every night. You don't look forward to going to bed. I'd be too scared. And I didn't want to always go sleep with my parents. I couldn't do that. That's too embarrassing to sleep with your parents at 9 years old. So I was always sleeping with my sister. It got to the point to where I would find something green to sleep with every night. And you're probably like, why sleep with something green? I literally had to tell myself that if I was wearing something green at bed or taking something green into my bed at night, they wouldn't touch me and they would leave me alone. I would pretty much find everything I could that was green. My mom had a robe that had green on it, I'd wear it to bed. I had a blanket that had green on it, I'd use it in bed. Green socks, got it. Green stones, wearing them. Like, I was like that. I had to come up with something in my head that would make me feel safe, and I felt like if I wore the color green, that I would be safe at night. And it never should have had gotten to that point, but my house was so haunted that I felt like I had to wear green to keep me safe at night. So I'm going to tell you guys about this one night that really, really stands out to me in particular, that reminds me of that trailer. Every single time I think of that trailer, I think of this night because that is probably the scariest night that has ever happened to me. So I laid down, I had all my green stuff on, I had the robe, I had the blanket, I had my anxiety rocks, I had my socks on, I had all that stuff. And I lay down and I go to sleep. And I don't know what time it was, but I woke up and I heard my clock ticking because I had an Elvis Presley clock that I had been gifted to me for my birthday. And it'd go tick, 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 like it was ticking like normal. But every time I looked at it, it would stop. I'd close my eyes and you'd hear tick, 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 and you'd look at it again and it would stop. And I was like, there's no way it's doing that by myself. I thought I was dreaming. Like, I kind of sat up, made sure that I was awake. Yeah, I was awake. Scared the crap out of me. So I lay back down. And our bedroom, mine and my little sister's bedroom, was right next door to the bathroom. And the wall that was right next to my bed was right by the toilet. Then you can hear everything because they were those brown, ugly walls that most trailers have. I'll insert a picture to show you guys what it looked like. But I heard scratches, like straight up, like, I don't know if you can hear that, but down the wall. And it wasn't just one scratch, it was like continuous on the wall right next to me. And my heart started pounding. And then I just felt like I couldn't move. And you might think like, oh, sleep paralysis, da da da. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I was like, it just wasn't. It wasn't sleep paralysis. This was happening multiple nights. Of course, like, I was too scared to move. It wasn't like sleep paralysis where you can't wake up and move. It was I was scared of moving because I didn't want them to touch me, if that makes sense. I didn't want them to know that I was awake. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. Like, it felt like chaos. And I was like, my heart was pounding, and I finally was able to sit up, and I woke up Sarah, and I was like, oh my God, Sarah, Sarah. I told her about it. And when we moved out of that house, I threw that clock away. I was like, Mom, throw it away. I don't want it near me. I don't want that clock. That clock scared me. And it wasn't the clock's fault, I'm sure. But just the memories behind it are what scared me so bad. And I didn't want it near me. There was another night where I laid down, had all my green on me. And my mom, she came in, said prayers with us, told her good night. And as soon as she walked out of the room, I felt something strangle me. I mean, like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. I was getting strangled. It felt like I couldn't breathe. Like, I was getting strangled. And just, like, every time I would try to scream, it almost felt like it was getting, like, even more tight. And my mom could hear me panicking. She came back in, and as soon as my mom came back in, I was able to breathe. And I told her what was going on. She's like, okay. She put on Christian music, and my mom isn't religious. Like, it was that bad. We were listening to Christian music. She went up to go leave again, felt strangulation again. She came back, was fine. And I know part of it was more than likely an anxiety attack, but it felt like more than just an anxiety attack. Like, it felt like something was choking me or sitting on my chest. And every time she would leave, like, I couldn't breathe, and every time she came back, I was able to breathe just fine. I don't know what was going on. That's the thing I think that scares me so bad, is I don't know what was going on. We had this yoga ball, and I'm pretty sure I have a picture that I can show you where it would sit at night, because we put it away so that way it wouldn't roll around at night. Just because, why not? We lived in a small trailer, and we wanted to put it away so that way it wouldn't take up so much room. So we had 2 couches. I will insert a picture to kind of show you where it would sit, but we'd put it there at night. And one time I was laying down in bed, and I woke up at some point in time, and I heard 2 kids laughing and the ball rolling back and forth in the living room. And it sounded like kids were running up and down, like the hallway, kitchen, living room part. I don't know how to explain it. Like, our rooms weren't really separate in the trailer because it was such a small place. But I felt kids, like, running down the hallway, and the ball was bouncing. I could hear it bouncing. Scared me because I knew there were no other kids in the house except for Sarah and I. So I went to sleep after all that went down. And the next morning I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, did you hear like kids running around in like the living room last night? And she's like, that wasn't you and Sarah? And I go, no, Mom, I was in bed and Sarah was asleep. Like, I heard kids playing with the yoga ball last night. I heard the yoga ball bouncing. She goes, I thought those kids were you and Sarah. I go, no, Mom, that wasn't us. And that's when I realized that it wasn't only me that was hearing these things. It was my parents too. I never saw any kid spirits in our house, but I did see a spirit one time. It was about school-ish time, about an hour before I would usually wake up for school, so about 6. This is when I was sleeping on the top bunk, because me and Sarah would often switch back and forth on the bunks just to kind of make it fair, you know? And I woke up one morning, just out of nowhere. Like, for some reason, I was just like, oh, I might as well wake up, right? So I wake up, and there was a closet here, right here, let me see. There was a closet right here in our bedroom, and then there was the door, and then our bunk beds were like right here. I don't have a picture of our room, unfortunately, to show you guys, but try to envision it the best you can. I look up, and I saw this lady. She had no eyes. She was wearing a native, like, pioneer type dress with boots that had fur on them. She had long brown braided hair, and she looked at me dead in the eyes. Even though she didn't have any eyes, but you can just tell, you know, that she was looking at me. And I was like so shocked. I didn't know what to do. She came out of the closet, like she walked through the closet door, looked at me, looked back, and went straight down the hallway. And I laid back down really quick. And I remember just laying there like, that did not just happen. Like, am I dreaming? Like, what just happened? I thought it was like 12 o'clock at night. The only reason I knew it was about 6 a.m. is because I woke up and then I went down to go tell my mom what happened, and she was already awake. And I checked the time and it was like 5:36. And I was like, Mom, I just saw a spirit. I just saw a ghost. And she was like, oh my God, like, what does she look like? And I told her everything, and she's like, that kind of sounds like my grandma. And she showed me pictures, and I was like, no, it's not her. So I don't know who that lady was, but she came and visited me. That was the first and only time I've ever seen an actual spirit. It was always in that room. Like, most of my encounters were in that room, and it was as I got older. And I really hope this story time isn't kind of everywhere, but like I was saying, there's no timeline that I can remember the age of when this happened. I just want you guys to know about the experiences that I went through. All of them are just crazy. There were times where we would set something down and it would be in a different place. There were times where you could hear like fingernail tapping on a table near us. Oh my God, there was this one time. You know what? I'm gonna leave my mom to tell you guys that story because it's crazy, and I think she might be able to explain it a little bit better. But me, myself, my cousin and my mom were all there for that experience, and that's probably also one of the most scariest things that happened to us. And I noticed as the time went by that we were living there longer and longer, the experiences kept getting worse and worse, especially closer to when we moved. And it got to the point where my mom was like, okay, like these experiences are getting out of hand, we need to move. Because I would dread going to bed. I would dread going home. I couldn't be left home alone because I would be too scared. So yeah, I think it's about time to call my mom and call my sister and to have them tell you guys the experiences that they dealt with.
Hello?
Hey, do you have a second to talk about the trailer? What is one of the experiences that you had happen?
So one night I was laying in bed with Dad, and like he used to come crawl in bed with us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was you, right? And I felt you like get in the bed from the bottom and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up and I'm like, Bella, go get in bed, and you weren't there. It wasn't you.
That's crazy. Nothing was in the bed?
No, Dad felt it too, though.
Dad did too?
He did, but he wouldn't fucking, you know how Dad is. He's like, no, yeah. He felt it. We both thought you were there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, we must have been tripping. I'm like, I was not tripping. I felt that. Yeah, he like tried to crawl in bed with us one night.
Do you remember the time when we heard that knock on the door with Asia?
Yep, that was the second thing.
Talk about it.
It was just weird. We were like all sitting there, and the next thing you know, you heard pounding on the bedroom door.
No one was in the bedroom either.
No one was there.
And it sounded like something was almost screaming too.
Yeah.
And so all of us ran out of the trailer.
And then, like, whenever you're in the bathroom, like, you get the eeriest feelings.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was talking about, was the bathroom.
Yeah, in the middle, the one between the two bedrooms.
Yeah, that one was eerie too.
Yeah, that one was the one that freaked me out the worst. Not the big one, the little one.
Mine was the big one, because the bathroom knob would jiggle by itself when no one else was out there.
Yeah, see, that one never really messed with me.
Yeah.
It was the front of the house that, well, I had the experience with you, like, crawling in the bed in the back bedroom where you guys...
Mine was the back bedroom.
And then in the front bedroom is where I heard the knocking.
Mm-hmm.
And then the night that me and Asia were cleaning that thing out, man, I swear to God, that was the eeriest feeling I ever had in my life. We could not, it was like eerie as fuck, like somebody was stalking us or something. You could feel it. It was so heavy.
Always felt like there were eyes on you in that place.
Yeah, and the whole time we lived there, that never fucked with me. It never did. It never did, just those 3 times. But then that night, the night we left, it was like I pissed it off because I was leaving or something.
That's what I was saying. It sounded like the longer we lived there, the more they messed with us.
Yeah.
They messed with me the most, huh?
Yeah.
Do you remember any of those moments?
Well, the one time you told me it looked like there was a lady standing at your bed, and I asked you to describe her, and it sounded like somebody off the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
You described somebody like with Oriental or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was weird.
Yep.
And then you would never sleep in the back bedroom. You like refused, and you crawl in the bed in the crib with Sarah.
Crib, yep. And then when I got older, I would share the bunk with her.
Yep. And then I found you guys sleeping in the hallway a lot.
Because we were too scared.
Yep. And then, yeah, I never really had any, like, for me, no.
You remember when the yoga ball would come out from between the couches and you could hear kids running around?
That was Grandpa. He heard that a lot.
Yeah.
They would bounce like little balls. They fuck with people. They didn't really mess with me. Just that one time when I felt them get in the bed, that freaked me out. That was like my first encounter with any of that.
Well, that kind of adds on to the fact that I would feel them crawl into bed with me and mess with my hair and my feet and stuff.
Yeah, see, that's weird. I only experienced that the one time. And it was nuts. That freaked me out.
Do you think they messed with me the most because I was the most vulnerable?
Yep.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. I remember the one time I was meditating, and I was meditating into energies into the candle, and it blew the transponder. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that was just weird. Like you could hear it like outside of the house. Like the whole trailer car just blew up. Like, you know what I'm saying? The power thing.
Yeah.
It surged so hard it just had poof, and nobody had any kind of power.
That whole trailer court was haunted.
Yeah, that was weird.
Bar house was bad.
Yeah, it was weird. I'm trying to think if there was any other thing that like happened weird, like.
Do you remember the night where every time you left the room, I couldn't breathe, but whenever you come back, I could breathe just fine?
Yep. And then that's when we came up with those prayers for you guys.
Yep. I remember one time you were taking a nap and you told me that you felt like you were being strangled and you had strangulation marks on your neck.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do.
I know I had some weird shit going on. I know I couldn't breathe in that place ever. I had to sleep with the window open.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to film a video about my moments in the trailer, but there's just so many to keep track of that it's hard to make a video that's all organized.
Yeah, it messed with you guys more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the main times that I can recall, though.
There's your proof from my mother, folks. I'll call my little sister now because she dealt with this stuff too, just not as much as I did, I felt. But if she did, she probably didn't talk to me about it. I know once she's seen a spirit, I don't know about really any other experiences with her, so we'll just call and see.
Hello.
Hello.
What's poppin'?
You got a second to talk about the trailer?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing anything. You're good.
Did you have any experiences?
There was one time I saw someone in the hallway when I was kind of young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, like, sleeping on the couch one night, and you weren't home. I don't know where you were. But, I was sleeping on the couch, and I woke up at, like, midnight.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, late. And I woke up, and the TV was still on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'll turn that off and, like, go to bed. And then I got up to turn it on. I looked down Mom and Dad's hallway, and there was, like, a dude standing there, and I freaked out. I screamed. I woke up Mom and Dad. Yeah, Mom said she remembers that.
So you've seen a guy in the house. I've seen a girl in the house. And I've heard kids.
Yeah. I'd never heard kids or anything like that.
Oh, I did.
Apparently Grandpa did.
Do you have any other experiences? Like, did they ever mess with you?
None that I can remember, no.
Yeah. Remember when I used to sleep with you all the time?
I do remember that. I do remember you coming to my bed a bunch of times because you couldn't sleep and you thought someone was there. But, like, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, no. You and Mom got the most of it.
Mom said that me and you got the most of it.
You did then. There was the one time that I freaked out because I saw someone, and then that was it.
Yeah, there were times where I'd feel they'd play with my hair. They'd, remember the time when they turned on the light? We were asleep. We fell asleep with the lights off. I woke up, the light was on.
That.
And we asked everyone, we're like, did you turn on the light? And no one turned it on.
I do remember that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, if no humans turned it on, there had to be something else that did. Well, everyone in the house has gotten messed with, so I know I'm not the only one. So there you have it, folks. I grew up in a haunted house, and it traumatized me. Clearly, I dealt with stuff, my sister dealt with stuff, my mom dealt with stuff, my dad did, I just feel like he doesn't like to talk about it. Yeah, they messed with my grandpa a lot when he used to live with us. My cousin Asia, when she used to live with us, they messed with her a lot. Me and Asia, we were the weak links because everything scared us. But yeah, so that's my story time for growing up in a haunted house. Honestly, I could probably come out with a part 2 about this. I just kind of have to have patience to just sit down and write down every single thing that I can remember about what happened to me that I haven't already listed off. But if you're interested in a part 2, please let me know, of course. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe down below, and press that snazzy notification bell to get notified every single time I upload, because I do upload every Saturday and on a surprise day during the week if I feel like it. I hope to see you guys next week, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys!